So now I'm gonna tell you about how I met my second wife. We met in high school. Um, we didn't go to the same school, but we were both in high school at the time. And there was this guy that lived around the corner from me that was a DJ, and I believe at that time he was dating her mom, and he was throwing a block party for his daughter. I think her birthday, and that's where we met. She was spending the night, I believe, over there with his daughter, and he was playing music outside in the neighborhood, and we were walking around, hearing the music and seeing teenagers gathering. So we walked over there, me and a friend of mine, and at that time I was indulging, little alcohol, little smoke, and I believe I asked her to dance. I asked her to dance. I was a bit of a dancer, and asked her to dance, and we danced most of the night and talked and had a good time. And a little bit, some of this is foggy. As I said, I was a little buzzed, but I believe she walked me home, and I think maybe we kissed or something. I don't remember. But what I do remember is the next day, she calls me, and I'm like, "Who? Who is this?" I did not remember her, and she's trying to get me to remember who she is. I don't remember. I don't remember who you are. I have a couple of friends over. My mom was gone. I don't know where my mom was at that time. I don't even remember. But she had left the house, and so she said she was going to come over. So she came over, knocked on my door. I'm like, how did she get my number and know where I live at? So I let her in, and she was like trying to go in for a kiss, and I was like backed away from her, and I was like, I don't know. 'Cause she wasn't really my type. She was very pretty, but she was like real skinny, and at that time I don't date skinny girls. I only date girls with curves. I was all my girlfriends had curves at that time, so I was like real strict of what I liked. I guess I don't know. I don't know why. But after that, she kept calling, and eventually, we started dating. And I think early in the relationship, I didn't really take it seriously, uh, but eventually, it got to the point where it was a real serious relationship, and we fell in love with each other, and I ended up taking her to her prom. She ended up being a really good person. Her mom was, strict about church, and a lot of her family was church members, and she went to a Catholic school, and she was very smart. She graduated from high school at 16. So just the more I got to know about her, the more I liked her. And it came to a point where she was graduating, and she was going to be leaving our town, and she wanted to stay together. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm trying to tell her, you're going to meet other guys. I'm going to be here in town by myself. I don't know if this is going to work, but she wanted to make it work. So we tried to make it work. We write letters and long distance phone calls and all of this stuff. And sure enough, the longer she stayed away, the more eyes would wander, and I would, you know, get attention from other women, and she come home from on a break or something, and I'd be with somebody else. And so, that happened a couple of times. We break up and get back together. And so I'm pretty sure I knew I broke her heart a couple of times. And her, her mom would see me and give me the eye, be looking at me at the corner of her eye, like all mad and stuff. So I knew I messed up with her. So I thought that was it. I thought that relationship was over and that we would never get back together. And she and my mom got along. She snuggled up to my mom real quick in the relationship. Her and her mom would be talking, and I'm like, I don't even know that they talking. Like, what are y'all talking about? She's supposed to be calling here for me, and not to talk to you. But after we broke up, I guess they stayed in touch because she would pop up every, couple of times a year, like at Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter or something. She'd pop up and be over there, and my new girlfriend would be with me, and I'm like, what's she doing here? And my mom's like, I invited her. She gonna be here. You ain't about to argue with your mama. So it went on for years like that. And I think we had got back together one more time. I was a little bit older, but again, it didn't work out. But once I got married to my first wife, and that was it. And I never thought, I figured that we would never get back together, none of that. And, 19 years of being married with my first wife, and she passes away. And my mom passes away before my wife. And I seen in my mom's phone book, she had like a little black book or a book with phone numbers, and I seen her number in there. So I called her and, told her what happened to my mom, and we had just kind of reconnected at that point. And we hadn't talked in years. And so we kind of reconnected at that point, but we were just friends. She was married and living in a different city. And so, 2-3 times a year we call or text each other during the holidays. And once my wife passed, we would talk a little more often. And not too long after, she ends up getting a divorce from her husband. And we ended up going out. She came to town and wanted to go out and celebrate New Year's. I had no plans. I wasn't with anybody. I was dating around, but I wasn't really with nobody seriously. And so I was like, sure, we can go out. And we went out and, had a good time. And conversation, old conversation, things that happened in the past, and things that happened with me and my wife, and things that happened with her and my mom that I didn't know about. So it was just, conversation flowing. And she made a comment about me and her. Something to the lines of me and her potentially getting back together. And it threw me off. I never would have thought in a million years that she would even think of me as a date, as a romantic date. So that when she first said it, I was like, yeah, 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 you're a real good friend, you know. I was just keeping it in the friend zone because I didn't even, I wasn't even going to approach uh, the subject of me and her getting together. I wasn't even going to approach that. And she had to clarify it in order for me, because you know how men are, we're a little slow. We can be a little slow sometimes. So she had to clarify what she was talking about. And it's, you know, at that moment, I was kind of like, you know, a light goes off in your head that this could potentially happen. And I was open to it. And so the conversation began every day now. She's still living out of town, but we're talking like every day, and we're rebuilding our relationship as romantic partners instead of just friends talking on the phone. And that's how we end up getting back together. I end up moving out of town to be with her and asking her to marry me. She said yeah. And I knew a lot about her. I was comfortable with her. She knew a lot about me. So it was an easy transition. I knew her heart. I just knew she was a good person. And at that time, I was struggling, just with a lot of loss, struggling financially. I was struggling in a lot of different ways. And for her to show interest in me was big. It was pretty big for me. And I believe that a lot of things started happening to bring us closer together, and that to me was a sign that God was leading me in this direction to be with this person. So I had to, you have to be able to notice God's signs. A lot of people, you got to know, and you got to hear God speaking to you, because a lot of people will say this is a sign from God when it's really not. And, or it's something that you want to do and you blame it on God when it's not really God. But this I knew was God telling me that she was my person, just like I already know God was telling me my first wife was my person. And so it's going on 4 years. It's been great. We were just in a little contest. We were doing a newlywed contest. So, they asked you questions. They send the ladies away and ask men questions, send the men away, ask ladies questions. And then you have to guess what the other person said, And they came to a question about when was your last argument? And I was like, oh, we don't have arguments. And the guy's like, oh, that's a cop out. You guys, that's a cop out. Guys don't want to tell the truth, this and that, whatever. So they wrote down that, we don't argue. And they had her come back out, and they asked her the same question: when was your last argument? And she's struggling to give an answer. And I'm like, just tell them. We don't really argue. Ding, 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 ding. And we end up getting that point. So it was like, I try to tell people, we don't need to argue. When you mature, you can sit down and discuss things. You just, you don't really have to have an argument. especially at our age. We ain't got time to be arguing and fighting. It's not necessary. We can discuss things and come to an agreement. So we get along pretty well. And we almost won. We came in second place. So we know each other pretty well. So just being able to hear God's voice and hear him, see his signs will really help guide you towards having a good relationship, and also being a mature person and being able to talk about things instead of flying off the handle, being a hothead, wanting to argue all the time. Those things are key to having a long-lasting, loving marriage. And I think we're off to a great start. Still in the honeymoon stage. Still holding hands in public. We had to kiss every time we had to get a question right. We had no problem doing that. So that's my message for today. That's my story for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And see you later.